Welcome to Chapter 8 and the Emergency Fund. This fund is very, very important for your financial life. It's not really in the budgeting portion of the program that we've talked about. This is sort of a side account, but it's no less important. Life is going to happen, and there's going to be a time when there's an emergency that we cannot plan for. There's just no planning for it. It's very difficult to plan for. And these are things like a job loss. It's very hard to plan for a job loss in your monthly budget, but you do need to have a plan for that, for just in case. And that's the emergency fund. This fund has no debit card, obviously, and quite honestly, you could actually have this account at another bank where you actually had to go down there and cash a check to get the funds. I really want that much separation between these dollars and your access to them. Why? Because this fund, you should put money into this fund, and most experts recommend, and I do too, 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in this account, and you should plan to never spend it. My plan is to have this money sitting in there and never, ever spend it. And I'm not worried about, so I know some of you, the numbers are already running. Well, if I'm going to have that much money in an account, I want it to be invested. I want to earn money. Well, it's really hard to do that. You can put it in a money market or one of these online high interest, earning savings account. But these dollars need to be what they call liquid, which simply means you just need to be able to get to them if you have to have them. And if they're invested in a mutual fund or something like that, they're probably too much at risk. Even though you probably have one-day liquidity, they're still too much at risk to be invested. So think of this as an insurance policy. You're paying into insurance. You're not expecting to get some grand return on it. It's money that's setting to the side as an insurance, possibly in another bank, a little bit hard to get to, that's only used in the case of an extreme emergency. Christmas is not an emergency, right? Birthdays are not an emergency. Things like that are just not an emergency. We plan for those. We know they're coming. These are things that you just can't see coming around the corner, like an instant job loss, as I was talking about. Or you could say, the water heater explodes in your house and you've got to have somebody come out right then and clean it up. Things like that just happen. New tires, brakes, those things aren't emergencies. Alternators that go out, those things aren't an emergency. Now, if your whole engine exploded, and which is not covered in our car repair is covering, small things, nagging things sometimes that happen. If your whole engine exploded, then that might be an emergency for you. So think about that as you set up the emergency fund and really try to work on getting some money in here quickly. Try to get $500 in there. Try to get $1,000 in there. Have a yard sale. Do whatever you can to get some buffer between you and life, because life does eventually happen. Thanks, and I'll see you next chapter.